Hey, you want some off? That's how the clerk people are when you go on off.js. Hi, my gorgeous friends on the internet. My thing came off. Yeah, in this episode, I'll show you how you can implement magic links with Next.Auth v5. I know there's been like a big misconception that Next.Auth is hard, and it was hard with all the changes and everything. But now that v5 is stabilized, it's actually quite okay. So I'll just show you how quickly it is to hook it up with Resend, to get magic links, and to sign in a user. I also want to shout out my course. That's no sponsors today, but I'll plug my course because it's pretty good. I'm proud of it. There, if you want to explore more, we'll do like GitHub off with Google as well, and password and email with two-factor authentication, and we hook up like a domain and everything in there. So yeah, check it out at ultimatenextjs.com. Link in the description. Okay, so let's get going. So this is pretty much an empty Next.js 14 project. The only thing I have set up here is Drizzle with PostgreSQL, just so we can save a user to the database. And if you want to do this, I'll just quickly show you what I have. It's just this. This is like the whole config file here where we have import Drizzle from Postgres.js, and we export this DB client here. Okay, and then of course I have like a URL here that's connected to, I don't think this one's to NeonDB, though I use NeonDB quite frequently now. I think this is on Railway. And that's it. And then you have your schemas here, which is pretty much a copy paste from the off.js docs. And let me show you how you can get that as well. So if you just look up Drizzle ORM adapter and off.js here and scroll down, it's literally a copy paste of this PostgreSQL schema. Okay, so create a schema TS in your server folder here, and paste all of this in there. And two things you're going to also need to install. It's going to be, if you're using this, if you're using something else, feel free to. But I'm installing the Drizzle ORM and the Drizzle adapter and the Drizzle kit so I can run the migrations. But that's that. So the first step to getting auth working in our project is to create this auth.ts file. Now again, I usually do my in the server folder here, and that's the way I like to, and this is how we do it in the course as well. We do a server folder. In here we have the server actions, and then you're gonna have your migrations folder, and here you have the index.ts as your like main endpoint to the database, and then your schema here as well. Okay, so let's go into the auth.ts here. And the first thing we're going to need to do is import Next-Auth. So let's do that. Next-Auth from Next-Auth, like that. Cool. Now we'll also need the database so we can hook up the adapter to it. So I'm going to say import db from, and since this is in an index.ts here, we can just say server like this. If you're not getting the autocomplete because this is being a sucker, restart TS server, yes please. Okay, next up, let's also import the Drizzle adapter. So let's say Drizzle adapter from, and this is gonna come from @auth/Drizzle adapter. There we go. So now let's head down here and we're going to say export const. We're going to open up a pair of curly brackets and set that equal to Next-Auth like that. And here is where you can add your callbacks, your events, your adapters, your providers, and all of that good jazz. So let's start off with the adapter. So we're going to say adapter, and here's where we're going to add the Drizzle adapter, and we just pass in the DB like that. Super simple. Now we're in June 2024, and I've noticed that the actual docs have updated, and I believe you are required now to pass in the like accounts table and the users table here from your schema and all of this good jazz. You don't need the sessions table if you're going with JWT, but if you're using magic links, you will need to provide a verifications tokens table here, and that's going to come from our schema. So we can just do import from. We'll go to server / so where you added the schema from the docs, you can just import all of those tables here. So accounts, you can do users, verification tokens, just like that. Okay, so let's pass these down here. So verifications token table is going to be the verification tokens, accounts table accounts, users. So there we go. Why you complaining? Oh, it needs the provider as well. So we can go down here and add a providers. So if you want to do GitHub, let me just show you how you can do that. It's so simple, might as well implement it now. So let's just do import GitHub. It's going to be with uppercase like that from Next.Auth GitHub. Okay, that should be correct. Let's do uppercase. That's how they do it in the docs. let's copy the docs. There we go. So we'll just pop that open, paste in GitHub, and that should be it. Now here, this is automatically gonna recognize your env env.local. So if you, let me show you, let me just show you. So this is how you do it. You go here, get hippy hoppity, go to the settings down there. We'll just set this up in 3 seconds. Boom. Go to auth apps, add a new one. Let's call this magic links auth.js. There we go. So for the home page, you'll need to pass this down, localhost 3000, like that. And then for the callback URL, let's just go here quickly and search GitHub. There we go. And that's going to be this one. So /API/auth/callback/GitHub. So let's copy that, paste that in, hit register, and that's it. So what I'm saying is that it's automatically going to recognize the environment variables if you set it in the .env like this. So if it's the exact same name, if not, if you want to do like different names, then you can just come here, and I believe you can just kind of open this up like that, see, like that, and then you can pass down whatever you want in it. But I like to keep it simple like that, keep the same names. So you need this ID and the secret, which you can get from here. So once you click update application, there we go, you can get this client ID. Let's go to our env local. So here's what we have, right? Of GitHub ID, you'll paste that sucker in there. Don't take this, please. I'd appreciate that if you just do it yourself, because it's quite annoying. And then something doesn't work anymore. I'm like, what's happening? And then it's like, oh, well, oh yeah, someone probably took my env file. Okay, so copy that, and then you can also get your generate client secret here. So bish bash bosh, you can copy that, paste that in, and that's it. Boom, you have GitHub all set up. That should be working just fine. And the last thing you need to pass down here is going to be a secret. And this is used for basically encrypting your tokens and hashing emails. So you can generate one. If you just open up your terminal, you can do an open SSL rand base 6433, and boom, you get a random string of characters. So for this one in your env local, you need to pass it in as auth secret. Okay, so make sure it's auth secret like that, and pass that sucker in there, and you are good to go. I already did one. So make sure you are using the same name here. So if we copy that, we can go to the secret and say process.env.authSecret and add a comma, and that should be pretty much it. The last thing you need to do is head into your app, you do an API folder, and then you do another folder with ... Next-Auth, and then in here you can have a route.ts like that. Okay, and then here all we'll do is say import handlers from, and we'll navigate over to server. It's doing it again. It's doing my nothing. Server/auth. There we go. Thank you. If this doesn't work, let's check back. Export const because we're never exporting any handlers here. So let's do handlers, and we can also do sign in and sign out and whatever else you want to get from here. We can do auth as well. This is gonna give you the ability to check the actual user in your session. Okay, so we'll use this in a second, but let's export these four, and then here we'll just import the handlers like that, and all we need to do is say export const, and we'll do get post from the handlers. Okay, and that's it. So if we run this up, npm run dev, I'm loving Go. I've been using Go HTMX recently, and this is causing me a migraine, but it's okay. So if we head over to localhost 3000, let me know if you want to see GitHub, not GitHub, Go and HTMX tutorials. Okay, so just with this basic setup, we should be able to go to auth/sign-in like that, and you should have a sign-in with GitHub. Click, and that should be working. This didn't work because I already did magic links, so only if you enable allow dangerous account linking, then you would be able to also sign in, because it's the same email address that I used, but the user is there, see, and that's why it stopped it. But there we go. That's just how simple it is to add GitHub or whatever, Google Auth or whatever else you want. But that's not why we're here. We're here for the magic links. So the first step to get magic links working is to use an email provider. I really like Resend. I don't think I'm gonna use anything else. It's so simple to use this one. So what you need to do is head over to your API key, sign up to Resend. I did one here. As you can see, it's called Magic Links. All you need to do is create one and then copy over that secret. And the way we save this again is important because Next-Auth providers is gonna use this exact same naming here when you pass in the providers. So make sure it's auth resend key like that. And then you pass in your auth key and that's that. You are done with everything. So now in your auth, you can just head back here and import that resend and that's that. So let's add a comma and we'll say resend like that. And this is coming from Next-Auth providers like that /resend. So let's uppercase that as well. And here we do need to pass down like an additional something here because you're gonna get an error if not. So you need to configure this from because you're gonna get a invalid domain error. It's gonna say, hey, your domain is not registered. So what you can do here is either do onboarding at resend, I believe. Now I just hooked up a domain here from Namecheap. It's called Sprout and Scribble. So you can add a domain. See, I can only add one here for now. One's free and the rest are paid. So I did Sprout and Scribble.store. You just need to configure this in your Namecheap and pass this down. So let me go to my Namecheap quickly and show you. So this is the one we use in the course as well. So Sprout and Scribble, I like Namecheap, it's so simple. You go to advanced DNS here, and if you scroll down, see I have added a CNAME, not that, the TXT records here, the 2 TXT records, which you just pretty much copy paste from here. And then you have this MX record as well. You need to pass it down here in the mail settings. So custom MX, and just paste down all the text that they have here. And then you can click, I believe verify in my last half an hour or so. But now the cool bit is that you can send it from your custom domain. So we can head back to our application and from here, you can do something like this. I want to send this from dev@sprout_scribble.store. There we go. Cool. And that's pretty much it. So let's run npm run dev. Let's go back to our local host here. Let's close all of this up. We essentially just want to add like an input tag, right? And also a sign out button here for us. So if we just head back to our page here, you should also see this here. They automatically add it for you. So API/auth/sign in. Look at that. You also have it popping up here. But let me show you how we can just add it to our local host here in our page directory. Okay, so we have our magic links here in our home page. Let's add the stars that's missing from there. Cool. And let's just add a new component. So I did one called sign in. So let's head over here. And all I'm going to do here is say import. And let's say export default function sign in. Let's open this up and let's return. Basically what we want is a form here. So we'll return a form. And this is gonna, come on, autocomplete it for me. There you go. We'll do an input of email, right? That's what we need. And also a button saying sign in. Let's do sign in with resend like that. Cool. Now we can pass in an action here. So let's create a quick server action. So here I have in my server, we have an actions folder and I call this resend login. In our recent login here, we can just import userver at the top, import the sign in from the server auth, and just create a function here where we get that form data, and the type is going to be form data. And all we need to do is call this function await sign in like that. First argument is going to be resend, the provider, and the second argument is going to be our data. So let's hit save. Head back here, and all we need to do is pass in that action. So let's say, what do we call it? Resend login. So we'll say resend login like that and hit save. And now we can import the sign in into our page. There we go. And let's hit save and we should see that pop up. Perfect. There we go. Now, remember we also exported that auth from here. So let's also use that in our home page here. So we'll say const session equals to auth like that. We'll import it and I'll say if there's no session, then I want to basically want to return this whole thing like that. Oops, I don't need to do that. We can just do that. And down here, I can say if there is a session, then I can do something else. So if there is a session, let's do that. Oof. There we go. Then we'll return and we'll do something like that. We'll not add the button here, but I'll say something like welcome session dot what's wrong. Oh, we need an await here. Add the await session dot user dot email. Okay, cool. Yeah, here we need a name. We need a name. It's email. Okay, type email, name email. That's fine. So let's try signing in with this. We'll say edmagician@gmail.com. And if we hit sign in with resend, you are gonna see that, look at that, check your email, lovely. So there we go. If we head in here, we're getting one from localhost 3000 and we're getting it from dev@Sprout and Scribble. And there we go. We also have a little HTML getting rendered out here. Now, this is customizable if you want to check out the docs, but I mean, this is fine. So let's click that and we should be in. And look at that. Welcome edmagician@gmail.com. And if you go to the Magic Link section here, they have a little article here, the docs, where they show you how you can customize this HTML as well. So let's head down here. Look, this is basically what they give you. So if you want to modify this, feel free to do that. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Drop a little like there. It really helps. I really appreciate that. I'm trying to diversify the channel a little bit, you know. I've been doing a lot of HTMX and Go, and I'm reading this machine learning book that's just fascinating. So if you want to learn more about linear regression, let me know. I'll gladly make a video about it. Until the next one.